Hello guys, it's the question guy, and today we're gonna do something different. It's a parabola question. Now this is actually just analyzation and proving facts of parabolas. So y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, and a cannot be equal to 0 because obviously then it's not a parabola. From the information given from the graph, what is not true? A is smaller than 0, c is greater than 0, b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, a plus b plus c is greater than 0. So, let's go through this one by one. Let's look at this graph, okay? And look at a. Well, a cannot be 0, so we know it's a parabola. But, how does this graph face? It faces downward, right? In the way of facts, this is a parabola where it opens up. That means a must be greater than 0. When a parabola opens down, a must be smaller than 0. That's the fact that you need to know. This question wants you to know facts. And from this, we know that this is correct. So that's not the answer we're looking for. And I put a check mark because I'll put X behind the wrong one. C is greater than 0. So when we look at this, how do we isolate C from Y? We want to know that C is greater than 0, right? Well, we want to try to isolate C. So let's try making X 0, because if X is 0, it's A 0 plus B 0. Actually, this is technically squared, but yeah, 0 plus C is equal to Y. And then C is equal to Y. That means when X is equal to 0, Y is equal to C. And C is here, it's in the positive. When X is equal to 0, the Y is positive. That means C must be greater than 0. It must be a positive number. So this is also correct. Now, answer C, b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. Well, here's the thing. There's two ways to analyze this. I'll now do both. So, this is the discriminant. The discriminant is to prove whether you have x's that when y is equal to 0, the x's are equal to something. So, in this equation, you can obviously tell that it makes in contact with the x-axis. It doesn't even need to be twice. It can be once, but it makes in contact with the x-axis. So we know that is true. However, if you want to see it, it's, remember, the quadratic for x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over, not the x, all over 2a. So extend that. Now, let's see this. If this, because it has to be greater, right? If it's 0, then it's just this. It's just negative b over 2a. But let's say this was a negative number, right? Then there would be no x's that would touch. So this has to be a positive number for there to have it to touch. Because if it's 0, because it specifies it has to be greater than 0. Let's assume if it is 0, there's only one answer, negative b over 2a. If it's greater than 0, there's two answers. Which in our case, there's two answers, okay? There's two spots where it touches the x-axis. If it's negative, then there'll be no part where it touches the x-axis. So, it has to be C that is correct. So, D is the incorrect one. Now, you cannot prove that this is incorrect, because A, we know is negative, C, we know is positive, and we don't even know what B is as a term. So, there is absolutely no way that we can prove this. But since we've proved that A is correct, C is correct, A is correct, B is correct, and C is correct, that means D must be incorrect. And that's the answer. Thank you for listening to a video of the Question Guy, and I hope you learned something today.